Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting properly informed.
Good to be here.
Today, we're jumping straight into rugby, specifically Rassie Erasmus's thoughts on that Springboks versus Georgia game.
Yes, the Mbombela match. Interesting one.
Exactly. Our mission is to really unpack what he said about the new guys, the team's direction, what it all means going forward.
And we're digging into that Planet Rugby piece, Rassie's verdict on Springboks newbies and Feinberg-Mngomezulu.
That's the one. It's got some great insights. Or, hey, if you love rugby or you're just fascinated by what makes top teams tick.
Which you should be.
Ha! Definitely. Make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession wherever you find your deep dives. You really don't want to miss out on our future analyses.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the match itself, Springboks win 55-10 against Georgia. Looks like a walkover on paper, right? A big scoreline.
It does, yeah. 45 points. You'd think easy win.
But knowing Rassie Erasmus, it's never quite that simple, is it? He always digs deeper than just the final score.
That's spot on. Despite that big margin, he actually said he was not overly thrilled.
Not overly thrilled after 55-10.
Yep. He felt South Africa were made to work hard for the victory by Georgia, the Lilos. He specifically pointed out how physical and disruptive Georgia were. For Rassie, it seems, it's less about the points and more about how the team stuck to the plan, how they executed under pressure.
Even if the pressure didn't necessarily translate to a close score?
Exactly. He saw moments where maybe they got pulled off their game plan, even if they still ended up scoring points. It's that relentless drive for perfection, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, let's unpack that then. What specifically was he looking at? Where did he see things that maybe didn't thrill him despite the scoreboard? What were the key focus areas?
Well, a big one was clearly the debutants, especially that front row. He actually said it was interesting to put new guys out in a game like this.
Interesting. So not just giving them a run out, but actively testing them?
Seems like it. Putting them under real pressure against a physical side known for its forwards. It says a lot about wanting to see how they'd cope, not just ease them in gently.
And what a test. A completely new front row bone eventer, Marnus van der Merwe, Neethling Fouché, all getting their first caps together.
Yeah, that's massive.
Especially against Georgia. I mean, their scrum is legendary, isn't it? That feels like a huge gamble. Was he deliberately throwing them in the deep end?
I think you have to see it as a calculated risk. And look, in the area Georgia are most feared, the scrum keeper.
Rassie was actually pleased by their scrimmaging performance.
Pleased. Against the Georgian scrum on debut. That's quite something.
It really is. It's a massive tick in the box for them. It shows the underlying strength and maybe the coaching, the system is working, even with new faces. Rassie wants players who just slot in and get the job done right.
Right. Fundamentals first.
Exactly. So holding their own there, that was clearly a big positive he took away.
Okay, so the scrummaging passed the test, but I think I saw he also mentioned room for improvement. It wasn't all perfect then. No, not at all. And this is classic Rassie, isn't it? Always looking for the work-ons.
So what are they?
He mentioned general play errors, things like how to stop a maul, and he made that great point about mauls being just as technical as a scrum sometimes.
That's interesting. Easy to overlook.
Definitely. And also general defense errors. So it's the stuff outside the set piece, the more dynamic, maybe less structured parts of the game where test rugby really tests you, adapting to that speed and tactical thinking. But look, he wasn't only critical, he highlighted positives too. Van der Merwe, the hooker, had a flawless line-out display apparently.
Oh, wow.
And scored 2 tries, which is pretty good going for a front rower on debut.
2 tries. Yeah, that's impressive.
And Venter, the prop, also got a try. So they certainly got stuck in. Rassie basically said he saw enough by that point. He got the data he needed, you could say.
Right. He saw the potential, saw what needed work. It feels like a very deliberate strategy, this. What does it really tell us about how the Boks are thinking about building their squad depth for the long haul?
It screams long-term planning, doesn't it? They're not just patching holes. They're stress testing the foundations.
Yeah.
It's about building a group where, ideally, player number 30 is almost as ready and capable as player number 15. And you only find that out by, well, throwing them in occasionally.
Even if it means a few shaky moments in a game they were expected to win anyway.
Exactly. It's an investment. You accept maybe a bit less polish now for potentially a much stronger, more resilient squad down the line, ready for World Cups, rugby championships, the lot. It's that constant building.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. From the engine room up front to the playmakers. Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu at fly half.
Yes. Young Sacha.
He had, well, the reports called it an off-color performance from the team. Missed his first 3 kicks, I think.
Yeah, 3 conversion attempts went astray right at the start. That's tough for any kicker, let alone a young guy in only a second start. The pressure must have been huge.
Definitely. But there was more to it, wasn't there? Something about an injury.
Yes, and this is absolutely crucial context. Rassie revealed Sacha picked up a hip pointer injury during the warm-up.
In the warm-up. Ow!
Yeah, painful. Apparently, the coaches talked about pulling him, but Sacha himself wanted to play. Showed guts,
For sure. But Rassie didn't just let it slide, did he?
No, he was really clear. He said the injury is not an excuse for the way he kicked at poles.
Wow. Tough, but clear standard.
Exactly. Acknowledges the reality, the difficulty, but maintains that high bar for performance, especially in a key area like goal kicking.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. Given that injury, given the missed kicks, how does Rassie view Sacha overall, beyond just the kicking stats? What's the bigger picture for this young player?
Yeah, and Rassie gave a really balanced view here. He up front said Sacha is not necessarily the first choice, number 10.
Right, with Libak and Pollard around.
Precisely. He mentioned Manny Libak being pretty much on song and Andre Pollard looking pretty solid. So, managing expectations, acknowledging the current hierarchy.
Jason.
But, and this is the key part, Rassie really praised Sacha's attitude, his willingness to try things and not just play safe.
Ah, okay, so he likes the intent, the ambition.
Absolutely.
Oh.
He doesn't want players, especially young playmakers, just going into their shells. He wants them to explore, to challenge the defense. And he actually defended Sacha a bit, saying he was certainly not one of the guys that made the most errors because of the disruptive way Georgia plays.
That's quite a statement, considering Georgia's reputation.
It is. It suggests that even with the missed kicks and the injury, Sacha was still trying to make things happen, still trying to implement the game plan against a tricky physical defense. For a guy in only his second start, Rassie seemed to value that courage and game intelligence. Maybe sees him offering something different.
It paints a much more nuanced picture than just missed kicks. Really fascinating. And look, if you're finding these kinds of insights valuable, going beyond the score into the strategy, then seriously, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession. Wherever you get your deep dives, just hit that subscribe button. We do this kind of breakdown all the time.
Definitely worth it if you love the game.
So, zooming out a bit now, Rassie looked at the first 4 matches of the year. They scored, close to 50 points in each match, except for one of the Italy tests.
Yeah, the scoring has been pretty high overall.
So, is he generally happy with how this whole experimental phase has gone? How does he weigh up, giving guys a chance versus maybe losing a bit of rhythm?
He actually addressed that directly.
Yeah.
He acknowledged that all the chopping and changing they've done to build depth, well, it can make the team lose rhythm.
It's logical, isn't it? Hard to build combinations when the combinations keep changing.
Exactly. It's that classic balancing act. Developing the squad versus perfecting the performance of the first XV. But his overall take was, we are fairly happy, but we can always do better.
Always do better. That sounds about right for him.
It's the mantra, isn't it? Never satisfied, always pushing. Even after putting nearly 50 points on teams, there's still analysis, still things to fix. It's about the process, not just the result. That relentless pursuit of improvement.
So what does all this mean for what happens next? We've had the experiments, the assessments. The Rugby Championship is just around the corner.
Yeah, the business end starts now, really.
What kind of squad changes or strategic shifts might we expect?
Well, the time for widespread experimentation is likely pausing for a bit. Rassie's about to name his squad for those opening Rugby Championship tests against Australia.
Right, the Wallabies first up.
So expect a shift now. Less chopping and changing, probably a more settled squad being named. He'll be looking for the players who've shown they understand the system, who've performed under pressure during these initial games. It's about consolidating now, building that cohesion needed to defend the title.
Makes sense. The focus sharpens.
Definitely. From testing depth to selecting the best available combinations for a major tournament defense.
It's been fascinating digging into Rassie's thinking, so turning it over to you listening, what really stands out to you from this? From Rassie's assessment, his approach to building the squad, the performances of the new guys, we genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this deep dive. What's your take?
Yeah, definitely let us know. And maybe here's something to mull over. We've talked about Rassie balancing experimentation with preparing for the Rugby Championship. How do you think his constant drive to always do better, especially after big wins, and his focus on handling disruptive teams like Georgia, how might that specifically shape The Springboks' tactics moving into those clashes with Australia and New Zealand. Are we going to see subtle shifts in how they attack or defend based on these early lessons?
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. How does that relentless improvement translate into actual on-field strategy against the big guns? Food for thought. Right. That's all we have time for on this Rugby Obsession deep dive. A huge thank you for joining us and diving into the details of the Springboks' recent performance and strategy.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And one last time, make sure you are subscribed to Rugby Obsession so you catch all our future deep dives. We'll keep bringing you the inside track on the world of rugby. Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession deep dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.